Alrighty, we are live. Let me check the sound here. It looks fine to me. Okay. Well, hope everyone's having a great evening today. It is 6:01 p.m. on a Friday in Medellin, Colombia. It's December 26th, right after Christmas. Christmas was great here in Medellin. We had Christmas with the family. We had a traditional Colombian dish called lechona. Lechona is like a stuffed pig. It was delicious. And we have tamales on the on deck for New Year's. We're going to celebrate New Year's at my brother's apartment. Okay, so today's topic, we're talking about 2025, the recap for the year, what happened this year, and what to look forward to next year as well. I've been doing a lot more videos on the channel, so the channel has grown this year, and it has the goal is for it to become like its own full-fledged business just on views alone. The YouTube channel next year. This year the goal was to make it part of the marketing for the Medellin Living Real Estate Company, which it will continue to be, but since it's grown and I'm getting more views, it's making more money just on views as well. So there will be more videos, more information on the videos, obviously, and we will continue creating them and hopefully have a full-fledged team by the end of the year. What's up, Prager asks, do you recommend using a lawyer, or do you recommend a lawyer for a real estate transaction in Medellin? Absolutely. You definitely want to use a lawyer because in Colombia, you don't have title insurance like you do in the U.S. So your lawyer, you're depending on either yourself or your lawyer to do the title due diligence. So you definitely want to have a lawyer when dealing with real estate here because they check the title, they go over the purchase agreement, or they'll draft the purchase agreement for you. Remember that the purchase agreement not only tells the owner what you're going to pay for the property and how you're going to pay it, and the price and all that, but it also stipulates penalties. There's a penalty clause there. If someone backs out of the deal, what happens? So you definitely want to have a lawyer. What's up, everybody? My name is Andrew. I live in Medellin, Colombia. This is the Medellin Buzz. And we're talking, today's topic is a 2025 recap, how Medellin changed this year and what's coming in 2026. 2025, Medellin I think it was a great year for Medellin. I think for all intents and purposes, I think the economy grew. I think it got safer. Obviously, more tourism, which we're going to touch on here. 2025 was the year Medellin got more expensive as well, more crowded, and more serious about tourism. If you're thinking of moving here in 2026, you need to know what actually changed. Medellin isn't a secret anymore. 2025 was proof of that. Rents exploded here, tourism broke records, and foreigners got both rich and some got robbed. And we'll talk about that as well. Let's break it down. If you're dreaming about Medellin in 2026, this video or this live is your reality check. What actually happened here in 2025? Let's talk money, safety, tourism, and your chances of building a life here. My name is Andrew. I've been here for 16 years in Medellin. I run this channel, Medellin Buzz. I also co-own a real estate company here called the Medellin Living Real Estate Company. MedellинLivingRealEstate.com is the website. If you are looking to buy a property in Medellin, make sure to hit us up by clicking the link in the description below. There's a form that you fill out, and once you fill that out, someone on the team will reach out and add you on WhatsApp and get to work. Tonight we're doing a no BS recap of 2025 in Medellin and what it means for you in 2026. What's up, Blended Borders? How's it going? Hope you're having a good day. Tito, what's up, Tito? Or good evening. It's 6 p.m. now. 6:06 p.m. Danielle, what's the difference between obra negra and obra gris? Or is there? Yes, there's a difference. Obra negra is like with no, it's not even built yet. Basically, no building yet. It's like, or maybe just a shell of the building. Obra gris means that the building is built, but there is no finishing. There's no cabinets. Maybe a toilet and a sink in the bathrooms, but that's it. Yeah. So if you're watching this live, make sure to hit the like button or the little heart. Wait, is there a heart? No, there's no heart. It's just the thumbs up button. Make sure to hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because I will be going live. In 2026, my plan is to go live every Friday. And of course, we're going to be doing a lot more videos. We've already started with more videos. That has ramped up the channel. I'm pretty transparent when it comes to business and my intentions. My intention with the Medellin Buzz is to make it its own business. Medellin Buzz has always been I've only had this channel for 2 years. And it's always been a marketing tool for the Medellin Living and Medellin Living real estate company, and also the Medellin Masterclass, which is the relocation masterclass that we have. The links are in the description below to that. But this year, since I've started to make more videos, the channel itself is making more money from YouTube, from the views. YouTube is paying me for creating these videos because you guys like them and you guys watch them. So that's why I'm doing way more videos. And I wanted to establish another lifestyle business, which is creating content, but around my lifestyle. That's why you see those vlogs where I'm walking around the city, because I'm basically going from point A to point B, whether it's coming back from the gym to the house, going to the cafe, going to show a property, going to do something at the notary, whatever it is that I'm doing that day, I fit in content creation because I like my lifestyle and I don't want to change my lifestyle in order to create content, if that makes sense. Because before, when I was making videos right here, just in the studio, first of all, I had to be here, and I'm not home all the time. I'm pretty much out all day, every day. And I don't like to be cooped up in the house, even though I work from home, quote unquote. I usually do all my work at the cafe or co-working spots, or when I travel. I love traveling and working. It's like one of my, and I guess I don't consider it work because they're my businesses, they're my passions, they're the things I like to do. And I've acquired this passion for content creation, so I've created this new lifestyle business where now it's growing. And right now the channel's only making, so before I started doing the vlog style videos where it was just me in the office talking to the camera, talking to you, it was, I was making maybe $500 would be like a good month. So it was between $300 to $500. That's why I didn't really care too much about the views and creating videos every day. I would do one every 2 weeks or one every week, etc. Because there was no incentive other than the fact that we would get leads for the Medellin Masterclass and also for the Medellin Living Real Estate Company, which was great. And that's been working really well. Now we're getting more leads for that. And on top of that, YouTube is paying me more. I think it was my washing machine. So YouTube is paying me more. YouTube is paying about $2,000 a month now. So if I continue this, and it's like the graph goes like this. So if I continue creating these videos, the YouTube channel itself will be its own business, where I'll be able to have like a camera guy, an editor, someone that helped me with the scripts, etc. So I can actually, form a team and make even more money while giving you more information about living in Medellin, investing in Medellin, maybe building a business out here, etc. So 2025, it's about to end, guys. We have just a couple more days. We have officially 5 days left, and the year's over. So what happened in Medellin in 2025? Well, tourism exploded again. Last year was a record year in Medellin. According to portafolio.com, Medellin's tourism grew about 23% in 2024 closing with 1.8 million passengers entering through Jose Maria Cordova in Rio Negro, the airport, via the migration point. And about 59% of them were international tourists. So there were about 30% Colombian tourists and 59% or 60% about international tourists into Medellin. This is part of the overall trend with growing international interest in Colombia. So that was 2024. According to Diario de Medellin, that 1.8 million figure represents 23% increase compared to 2023, and set the stage for further growth targets in 2025. The level of tourism growth in Medellin underscores the increasing popularity in the city as a destination for both short-term and long-term stays. According to InfoBay, more than 1.8 million tourists came in 2024. Within the first months of 2025, Medellin already had about 800,000 visitors this year. We don't know the exact number this year. I'm assuming it's going to be more than 1.8 million tourists. This is a continuation of that upward trend, though, with numbers in 2025 showing no signs of slowing down, which is awesome. Let's say hi to some of you guys here that are writing here. Let me move this. Can I? Yeah, there we go. We could still reach some goals this year. Yeah, the year's not over yet. What's the best way to look for real estate in Laureles? You can Google it. Apartamentos a la venta en Medellin, and you'll see websites like Raíz Urbana, Metro Cuadrado. There's a bunch of local sites, and you can also check out our website, MedellinLivingRealEstate.com. We have a bunch of listings in Laureles as well. And if you want to work with me and my team, you just fill out the form in the link. There's a link in the description. You fill that out, and that way we know exactly what you're looking for, and then we'll help you find the exact property that you're looking for. Sorry, I'm just getting over this this cold I had. What's the best way? Okay, Medellin is dope. Yes, it is, Martin. Hope you're having a great evening. I appreciate the information through your videos. Thanks, Mac. Hello, people all around the world. What about new regulations for Airbnb in Colombia? Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Very important here. Just found this live video. I'm German, have a Colombian girlfriend, and want to stay in Colombia for part-time of the year. Staying in Cali right now, but I visited Medellin a few days ago and loved it. Yes, I love Cali as well. I always say that if Medellin didn't exist, I would live in Cali. Because Cali's weather is very similar to Medellin. It's a little hotter, but it's very similar to like California, Southern California weather, which I love, obviously. I grew up there. And also, it doesn't hurt that it's only like 4 hours away from a 4-hour drive to the beach. Speaking of German, I'm not drinking beer, though. It's just water. What is your experience with older versus newer properties in terms of quality? I've only bought properties that were over 25 years old, in buildings that were over 25 years old, and those honestly they feel more secure than the newer buildings because they're all brick. It's like they're definitely not coming down anytime soon. Medellin. So in this video, we're going to cover all of this stuff. We started with tourism exploding. This year, we're probably going to break last year's record of 1.8 million tourists. Because by the first few months, Medellin already had 800,000 visitors, according to recent stats by InfoBay. But we won't know the numbers until probably January or February for this year. But what does that mean? That means that there's been more planes landing here, more foreigners, more Airbnbs in El Poblado particularly, and Laureles, and now in Sabaneta and Envigado. So it's expanded, it's growing. How many of you guys type yes in the chat if you visited Medellin this year? I want to just see how many people came here this year that are watching this. And if you're watching the recorded version, because this will live on the website, or sorry, on the channel as a recording. Okay, so Blended says yes. Matthew says yes. Bismarck said, wow, a lot of you guys. Ronaldo, Ronald says yes. Card Shark says yes. Michael Landis, what's up, Michael? Medellin Masterclass student and real estate client, Michael Landis. Martin TB says yes. Bismarck in August was here, okay. Walking Dot said yes, and so did Squilchez says yes as well. Okay. Yeah, so that's great because you're my target audience. Just checking. No, but yeah, so if you came here this year, you probably noted, if you've been here before this year as well, you probably noted the difference in Medellin. There's a lot of construction going on, new restaurants opening up, more attractions, more westernized, I guess, or Americanized amenities. Hotels with like the jacuzzi on the balcony or the rooftop pool with the cafe at the bottom, which is very almost Europeanish and American at the same time. Medellin and Colombia as a whole takes a lot from Europe as well, not just the United States. I think for a long time it took more from Europe than the United States, but now with so much interest from the U.S. By way of tourism, there has been more things that cater to Americans or that Colombians like too. Who doesn't like a rooftop pool? Who doesn't like the jacuzzi on the balcony? So who doesn't like balconies? For some reason, not many buildings, like old buildings, they don't have balconies. I don't understand why. It's so beautiful out here. Why wouldn't you want to be outside? But for some reason, Colombians just didn't have balconies. Maybe it was a safety issue in the past, but now obviously safety has increased. So people are more relaxed, I guess. Jay says he was here. Jay Munoz says twice. Highly recommend the masterclass, says Michael Landis. Thanks, Mike. And I'll see you in February too. Okay, Bismarck's coming in February. Awesome. Johnny Rios, what's up, Johnny? Hope you're having a great day. Johnny Rios is the owner of the Medellin Facebook group called Gringo Paisa. Probably the best group on Facebook for expats. If you haven't joined it, go join it on Facebook. You get great information there. It's a great expat community, and Johnny Rios is the owner. Jesse, what's up, Jesse? Just got my Colombian citizenship. What? Holy cow, that was fast. Oh, wait. You got your Colombian citizenship, Jesse? Isn't that fast? Didn't you just buy your property and get your investor visa like this year? That's crazy. Ronald says, I came in June and October. Okay, twice this year. Awesome. So yeah, you guys have probably seen the difference, the changes going on in Medellin. I mean, it's inevitable. It's inevitable with all this tourism for there to be changes in the city. Some have been great changes. Some of them have been bad. Let's talk about some of them. So one of the bad changes is that Medellin is now more expensive. Medellin is now Colombia's most expensive rental market. According to MedellinAdvisors.com, 2025 is the first year Medellin officially passes Bogota as the most expensive rental market in Colombia. Rental prices in Medellin have risen sharply due to increased demand from both local professionals and foreign investors. According to a 2025 working paper from the Banco de la República, the national bank here, by 2024, Medellin had moved into the top spot for rental prices among Colombia's main metro areas, ahead of Cartagena and Bogota. As more foreign money floods into the city, local rents have skyrocketed, making it harder for middle-class Colombians to afford living here. That's by the Banco de la República. On social media summaries of DANE's IPC data, Medellin is now consistently listed as the most expensive city to live in Colombia for 2025, with rents, food, leisure all pushing up. This market is this marks a significant shift for a city once known for its affordability. That was from DANE, or DANE, which is the government agency that does stats in the country. So this is huge. Medellin used to be like the cheap place to come and vacation. It was when I first got here in 2010. When I first got here in 2010, it was basically just backpackers and some expats and very little retirees. Now, you don't see, there are still backpackers. And when I say it's more expensive for the locals mostly, because for foreigners, it's still like half or a third of what you would pay in the United States for living here, hotels, entertainment, leisure, etc. It's definitely cheaper for us that make dollars, but for the locals, it's gotten way more expensive. And that's a con. That's a negative that that tourism has brought. And it's not only tourism, because obviously COVID had a play in this. When COVID hit, there were about 4 years that there was like no construction of homes in Colombia, or in Medellin, I should say. That's from the National Constructors website that I got that info from, and it makes sense why there's more of a demand, not only from tourism but locals, but also there was a stall in building apartments. And then when they started building apartments, constructors weren't building, middle class or lower middle class or even low end buildings. They were building the buildings that are going to pay out more for them, which are the luxury buildings in El Poblado, in Laureles. So there was a stall on affordable housing. So obviously demand up, supply down. What does that mean? Simple economics, right? The prices go up. As Medellin is becoming a victim of its own. So do you think that Medellin is becoming a victim of its own success? I think for the most part, it's not, but to some degree, it has become a victim of its own success. The middle class in Colombia is being pushed out. Affordable apartments are harder to find. What was once $400 a month in El Poblado is now $900 or $800 or more sometimes per month. For example, the apartment that I live in, I pay about $800 a month. It's a 3-bedroom. It's got a pool, jacuzzi, sauna, kids play area, a basketball court and a soccer court downstairs, a gym, parking, lots of parking for visitors, safe. We've got 3 guards working every single, all shift 24 hours. And we've got the cleaning staff in the building, the maintenance guy. So it's kept up really nicely. It's a great building. But this apartment was only $400 just a couple years ago. Now it's $800 a month, and that's what everybody here is paying, because there are a couple others that are for rent right now with rent signs. And I always call just out of curiosity, and they're a little bit more expensive than what I'm paying. And they're like 2 bedrooms or the same layout, 3 bedrooms. I love this apartment, by the way, because it has 2 balconies, one in the master bedroom and one in the living room. It's awesome. It's like, I'd never want to move. I wish I could buy it, but the lady doesn't want to sell it yet. So we'll see. Yeah, $800 a month is really good. Like I said, $800 a month is really good for us that make dollars, but for a Colombian, that's like 4 million pesos, or 4 million pesos, or 3,500,000 pesos a month is a lot when you're only making 5 million or 6 million or 7 million per month. And not everybody makes that, but obviously there's like about 150 apartments in this unit. So a lot of people do make that. But it has gotten more expensive, and I've noticed it too, because before my older building where my brother lives now, I was only paying like $400 a month there. Okay, so rents have gone up for locals. It's still cheap for us that make dollars, but some things have to change here, and that's what they're working on, and we'll get to that, the Airbnb regulations here in a minute. Do you really use the pool in the building? Yeah, with a kid, it's like we use it almost every weekend. But not many people use the pool here. And today was like so hot. We should have went to the pool today. But I'm getting over a cold, and the baby was sick as well, so don't want to get him sick again. But yeah, we use it a lot. So the next thing is that cost of living, inflation hurt, but dollars still stretch. So according to DANE data reported by El Colombiano, which is a newspaper here, annual inflation in Medellin was at about 5.44% in October of 2025, close to the national 5.51%, and part of an upward trend in the second half of the year. So inflation is at about 5.5% right now. According to DANE's national CPI summary in Tropicana, Medellin's annual inflation around mid-2025 was 5.41%, putting it among the more expensive big cities, though not number 1 by CPI. Pereira and Bucaramanga had higher inflation. this year. According to Reuters, Colombia's national inflation in early 2025 was recorded around 5.2, 5.3%, down from the crazy 8% plus the year before. So 2024, we had about 8.5% inflation. This year, 5.5. Let's just call it 5.5% inflation. But it's still above the central bank's 3% target. So yes, Medellin got more expensive for Colombians, like I said before. For Americans with U.S. dollar or foreigners with their currency that's more that stretches more than the Colombian peso, it's still cheaper than most cities in the United States, in England, in Australia, etc. But it's not backpacker cheap anymore. You're not going to get a $200, $300 rent in El Poblado anymore. What's your monthly spend in the U.S., guys? In the U.S., what do you spend roughly a month just to live your life? Here, I spend around like $2,000 a month just to live my life with rent, the things that I do, things for the baby, etc. I spend about $2,000. Card Shark says USA is trying to weaken their USD, so expect that the conversion rate will be lower. Yes, I mean, we've felt it lately. Can you make USD COP prediction for 2026? I think by the middle of the year, the US dollar will go back up. I think it's kind of on a downward trend right now, as Card Shark was saying. But middle of the year, I think it'll go back up. Closer to the 4,000 peso range for $1. You can just rent in Comuna 7. Yeah, you can find those in different comunas for $300, $400 a month or less. But, El Poblado is the most desirable one. Matthew says he spends around 2 to 3K. Okay. We pay $6,400 just in mortgage. Holy cow. Mary says, yeah, some people, I mean, just with $6,400 a month here, you would kill it. You would have an amazing life. Besides Medellin, what are the best not known cities to live in Colombia? There's a lot. I really like Pereira. I like the coffee access area is awesome. Salento. They're just too small for me. Those cities, like, I liked them a lot when I went there because they reminded me of Medellin. They're like, Pereira is like a mini Medellin. They have like about 1 million people there, but it felt small. Like, literally, I was there for like a week and I did everything there is to do in Pereira in like a weekend. There's not much, but you got to remember, I guess it just depends on your taste. You got to remember my story. I didn't leave the United States. I didn't run away from the United States. A lot of people come here as expats running away from something or a lot in the United States or in the country that they are from or where they live. I didn't run away. I was deported and I came here. I love America. I would probably still live there if I hadn't gotten deported, or at least part-time, right? Part-time here, part-time there. So my MO in life is to be around expats. I like Americans. I like American sports. I love going to the sports bar. I like to eat good burritos and hamburgers and international foods, right? Not just only Colombian food. I do love Colombian food, but you know what I mean. Those are the people that I get along with the most, or I guess not get along with the most because I get along with everybody. But what I'm trying to say is they're the people that I resonate with the most and really feel at home with. So I do have a lot of expat friends. So living in a city like Salento or living in a city like Pereira or Manizales or even like Bucaramanga would be hard for me because, I'd be looking for things to do that I like to do, right? Like that are American things to do, like go watch football on Sunday, hang out with the friends, and do stuff with them. It's just different. I guess it's a different lifestyle that I lead. So that's why I like the transformation that Medellin has gone through. When I got here in 2010, it was rough. It was kind of like a honeymoon for me, right? I had just gotten here. Everything was new. It was awesome experiencing like a new culture, like the Colombian culture, in the place that I was born and didn't know anything about, and discovering it. But after like that first year and I settled in, I had a local job, man, it got boring real fast. There was not much to do. Basically, Thursday night, there nothing to do on Thursday. During the week, there was nothing to do in Medellin. 2010 up until like 2015, there was no clubs open. There was no bars open late. Saturdays and Sundays were kind of like a ghost town in most parts of the city. But now it's obviously way different. Now you've got any day of the week, you can go out and do something fun. Go dancing, go watch a basketball game. Like they have a professional basketball league here now. Los Paisas are the Medellin team. So there are things that I like that are my like American interests that have now arisen here, and I really love that. But yeah, back in the day, 2010, this was like all backpacker heaven. And it was funny because Colombians felt that all Americans were like these dirty backpackers. They're like, it was kind of like because that's all they would see and that was all they were exposed to. So they thought that all Americans were like that. And I always have to tell my students when I was teaching English, I'm like, it's like saying all Colombians are drug dealers. Like when I was growing up in Southern California, when I would tell someone I was Colombian, they would ask me if we sold cocaine. I was like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what, and I would tell them that. And then they're like, oh yeah, I realize that now that we see more upscale travelers coming down here, staying in nice hotels, coming down here to do business, dressing nice, not in flip-flops and board shorts and not putting deodorant on. I mean, some Europeans still do that and it's gross, but most Americans that are middle class and upper class, they show up well to when traveling. Some are obnoxious, but for the most part, I think Americans travel well, especially down here in Colombia or in Medellin. Max says, I'll be in Medellin April 3rd and through 10th. Will you have an in-person event during that time? Possibly in April. I haven't thought about that. We have an event every month. So hopefully those dates will land on one of the events. Or one of those events will land on those dates. I'll try to keep it in mind when planning, though. Too much fried food in Colombia, one of the few drawbacks. Yeah, if you eat out a lot, that's really all there is in terms of like Colombian fast food. It's all deep fried, but I never ate fried food at home. Like Colombian home cooking is more like comfort food, like rice, beans, salad, soup, and protein. Literally, that's what it is. And very little would be deep fried. Maybe chicharrón, but we never cooked that because my parents were actually pretty health conscious. A U.S. friend who lives in Costa Rica now told me that his retirement dollars really went down in purchasing power in the past 4 years, or in the past 4 years in Costa Rica. Yeah, I've seen that. I have a few friends that live in Costa Rica, and they say that it's almost the equivalent of the United States. Yeah. Yeah, Jay Munoz says what he says is exactly true. Like me living in like a city like Bucaramanga, Pereira, Manizales, a smaller city that's awesome. You would be doing the same stuff over and over versus in Medellin, you don't have to do the same stuff twice if you don't want to, which is true. Every day I can go to a different cafe, work out of a different co-working spot, and it's all walking distance, which is awesome. What about July for Independence Day? I don't know. I haven't thought about. Usually, our real estate meetup, the in-person real estate meetup, is it's the last Wednesday of every month, and then there are other meetups like the Medellin Business Insider Group that has an event that I go to. So there are more events, but that's the one that's like my staple. I go every last Wednesday of the month because now I'm co-hosting that. Do you still do language meetups? I don't. Let's just say yes for next year. We'll leave it at that. I haven't done language meetups for many years now. I used to do them all the time when I was a teacher, and they were very successful. We'd get like 100 people to them, 120 people sometimes. We'd fill up someone's restaurant like on a Thursday night or Wednesday night to do the language exchange. This coming year, I'm starting a new business where that will be part of the business, the language exchanges. I like your story. You're inspiring. You have it together. Keep rocking, friend. Thanks, Mufasa. I appreciate it. Great content. I plan to remodel my restrooms and kitchens June or July 2026. Any suggestions? Yeah, go to Ideo in Envigado. It's called like Idea, but in Spanish, Ideo. It's kind of like a mall, but all for construction stuff. You can find everything there, and they do great work. And you can even hire someone to redo your bathroom right there, and they'll have like they'll give you a quote and everything. Obviously, they'll send people out to do measurements, but it's probably best if you go with the measurements already. That way, you could get a rough estimate, and then they'll probably have their people come over. But yeah. Were the language exchanges done through Facebook or Meetup? Facebook, yeah, it was a Facebook event that I would do. Can't wait to have some sancocho soon. Yeah, sancocho. I have tamales in the fridge right now. Man, it's so hot in here. Yabba Dabba Doo says, what's up, Andrew? I met Yabba Dabba Doo at the real estate meetup last month. It was great meeting you and your business partner. How much is the usual negotiating range discount on an apartment in Colombia? About 10%. I would say 10%, yeah. Sometimes only 5%. People are pretty adamant about what they ask for here because, you know, they don't have any mortgages hanging over their heads, you know, forcing them to sell. So a lot of people won't negotiate past 10%. So if you get a better deal than 10%, then that's a good deal. How hard is it to sell an apartment in Bogota, Medellin that you bought present day? Sell an apartment, it's all depends on the price. If you're an informed seller, you'll know what the price per square meter should be for your apartment, and if you price it at that or lower, you'll sell it fast. But if it's overpriced, it'll sit on the market the whole year. Bogota market, I don't know. I've never bought or sold in Bogota. Yabba Dabba Doo says, yes, sir. Great meeting you. Matthew says, how much is electricity and utilities in Medellin? I pay about like $100. Yeah, it's about $100, maybe $150 when I had air conditioning in my other apartment and I would run it. But you know, I'm not here during the day. Nothing is on, so it's about $100 for electricity, gas, and water. Can you own property outright if you're not Colombian? Yes, you can, Mufasa. You can own property just with a passport and your name will be on the title. That's why properties sit for a while. People just wait. We'll just wait. No stress on them. No mortgage. Exactly. Yeah, that's why there's like no flipping business here. Well, there's no flipping business like house flipping in Colombia because of the, what do you call it? Capital gains tax. Capital gains is like 30% if you sell within 2 years. So most people will hold their properties and then sell after 2 years because that capital gains tax gets cut like by half. How about some insurance? Is it expensive? What type of insurance? Like homeowners insurance is not expensive. I maybe pay like for homeowners insurance and renter like liability insurance for my rentals for my Airbnbs. I pay about like $450 a year for each apartment. I know because someone asked me recently, and I gave him my contact for the insurance agent. I plan on going to Octava Moravia Mirador in Sabaneta, July 20th for Colombia's Independence Day. Nice. Hi from Cali, dude. I was just in Medellin, and my wife, our driver, and myself ate at Mama Panda because we saw your video. No way. Awesome. Did you get to meet Andrew? He's always there. They're great. Love the food there. It reminds me, I gotta go back just to say hi and have some of their the shrimp, the coconut shrimp. Oh my God, those are, you dream about that. There was a time in Medellin where that wasn't even a thought of mine, having real Chinese American food, and now it's come true. The dream has come true. The issue with foreigners owning property in Colombia is finding the financing. Yeah. You can build credit here like you do in the United States. Obviously, you'd have to, get bills under your name, get credit cards, obviously open up a bank account. For all that, you need it makes it a lot easier if you get a local ID, and you'll have to get your tax ID number, which is the RUT number, which I think you could do it online. When I got mine, I had to go to downtown and get it from the office that does that. But I think now you could just get your root online, and you start building credit on that, and then in a few years, you can apply for a mortgage if you wanted to. I work in education as a high school counselor in the States. I retire in June 2028. Nice. How can I get into education in Medellin, but I don't speak Spanish? So if you become an English teacher, you don't need to speak Spanish. Obviously, it will help when dealing with contracts with your employer. But if you hire someone to check that out for you, like an attorney that speaks English, that's bilingual, you can get around that. I have many friends that don't speak English or Spanish, that speak very limited Spanish, but they work as English teachers here, or they run businesses online or whatever, and they live here comfortably without knowing the language 100%. The foreigners who are buying flats in Medellin never use any financing. It's cash on the table or latest quite many through crypto. Yeah, some people have, for example, pulled out equity from their home that they own in the United States to buy a property here. So they have a second mortgage on their home, and they buy the property here, put it up on Airbnb, and that helps pay down that second loan. But yeah, you don't need much to buy a property here compared to the United States, of course, because it is a lot of money. With $150,000, you could buy a nice apartment in Colombia, in Medellin. If you're lucky, in El Poblado. But if you have a good real estate agent and you tell them, look, I can't go over $150,000, I want to be in El Poblado, we'll find it. We find. I literally just bought one for $135,000. Well, I didn't. My sister. We found one for my sister. She just bought one for about $135,000 in El Poblado. And she's doing light remodeling right now because she's living in it. She splits time between Medellin and Irvine, California. So now she's location independent. It was funny because she was working at a job that was really well paid job. She's a headhunter. She works as what do you call that? Headhunters. Fuck. The people that scout or look for talent. So she worked for a tech company, and she lost that job. And she was like, oh, man, I'm wondering. And she got offers for other jobs, but they were offers where she would have to be at the office part-time. So she wouldn't be able to live in Medellin, her dream, to live here on and off, 6 months out of the year, be here with us, with my mom, my dad, my baby. My brother lives here as well. So with the family. And now my grandma's here. So she wanted to be a recruiter. Thank you. I slipped my tongue. Yes, a recruiter. So she does recruiting, and now she's location independent because her new boss, her new job, is all location independent, which is awesome. So congrats to her on her new apartment and new job, which is awesome. And she's starting her own recruiting business because her employer allows it, which is awesome. She's got the best of both worlds. Oh, man. I'm getting over this cold. The baby, when you have a baby, I didn't realize how sick you get. I never got sick when I was single and I didn't have a kid. This year alone, I've been sick 3 times. And all 3 times is because he got sick from somebody else. I don't know how. But, it's weird. I guess because you're with them all the time, right? Speaking of bank accounts, Bancolombia offers for Colombians living abroad with a cedula the option to open via website. Okay, but I'm confused about the RUT number. They don't seem to ask for that on the website. Yeah, you don't need an RUT number usually to open up a bank account. The RUT number is usually used for when, let's say, you get hired by someone. They'll ask for your RUT number. If you bill someone for something, they'll ask for your RUT number. Some companies or some banks will ask for it as well, but most banks like Bancolombia, I never had to show an RUT number there to open up my bank account. Orange County, Irvine is nice and safe, but boring. I know. Tell me about it. That's why she loves being here. she, she has an amazing apartment, near the Irvine Spectrum or in the Irvine Spectrum. It's like a resort, really. And but she says that it can get boring. Although she's got a lot of friends, she goes like dancing a lot and stuff, and it's still fun over there. But it's more expensive. It is lonelier because most of the people our age there now are, have kids, have families. A lot have moved away from the city because Irvine is pretty expensive. The exchange rates have come way down lately, and I'm about to buy another new vehicle in a couple of weeks. Yeah, that's why I don't really look at exchange rates too much. They've gone down. I mean, it was at like over 4,000 for $1 at one point, but it's only like 3,800. So it hasn't like gone down. It hasn't plummeted, but it has gone down, and we have felt the dollar for sure, or the peso gaining on the dollar. I had a respiratory illness for the last 2 months. I finally kicked it on Christmas Day. Nice. Congrats. Hopefully you stay healthy for 2026. Okay, so what were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So let's talk about quality of life. Still one of Latin America's best, Medellin. According to Numbeo, I don't know if you know Numbeo.com, the website that does cost of living stats. 2025 quality of life ranking covered by multiple local outlets. Medellin is on the top 10 cities for quality of life in Latin America. Portafolio's breakdown of the ranking says Medellin scores well on healthcare, climate, and urban mobility, but weaker on purchasing power. Locals don't earn enough for how prices have moved up. So obviously, purchasing power for the locals has gone down because rent prices have gone up. But it scores high with healthcare. It scores high, obviously, because of the weather, and it scores high because of the urban mobility. The metro system here is amazing. Love using that to get around. So for locals, it's a higher quality of life, but a squeeze in their wallet. For you with U.S. income or European income, it's still great value, still good health care, still easy movement, great public transportation. You don't really even need a car here if you work from home or whatever. Like in my scenario, I have a car, but I don't use it. I thought I was going to use it a lot, but I don't use it as much as I thought because traffic can be horrible here during peak hours, and I'd rather just walk and get my steps in. So it is a nice contrast here for quality of life for particularly Americans. I mean, that's what I know because I lived in the United States for so long. But yeah, the best way to transfer USD to pesos for buying real estate. You're going to want to create an account with a brokerage firm here in Colombia. I always recommend Alianza. If you Google Alianza Colombia, it's a brokerage account that acts as your bank account in Colombia. You transfer money, you do a wire from your bank into your account in Alianza. You'll have like a dedicated rep that will help you move the money when you tell them to, either by like a cashier's check or an actual wire transfer into somebody else's account when you buy the property. You mentioned speaking Spanish is a must to live truly comfortable there. I feel my Spanish is basic. Would living there for 183 days be the best option instead of investing if I don't speak Spanish? I think that if you're here for 183 days and you really focus on learning Spanish, like for me, like when I became a teacher, I realized what type of learner I was, and I was able to learn French in 3 months. Like basic French. I can have a conversation. I can't like write a poem or something, but you know what I mean? Like I have basic conversational French, and I learned it in 3 months because I learned my learning style. I learn best in groups. Like I can learn a lot, in most of my business and everything that I've learned, I've done it on my own through YouTube videos, learning on, online classes, but that's like boring for me. It's so I learn faster and it sticks with me a lot, especially for languages in a group. So if you really focus on that, in 3 months, you should be able to ramp up your Spanish very high. And I always tell people that you must speak Spanish here because it only makes your experience better. It doesn't, not knowing Spanish, you could still live here. You're just paying for people to do stuff for you. So, that you won't understand. You can have a personal assistant help you all the way if you wanted to. But if you know some Spanish, you'll get the culture better. You'll connect with locals better. You'll understand why things are the way they are sometimes, and they're different than in the United States by just knowing the language. So, highly recommend doing that. If you're here for 3 months and you immerse yourself, you're going to be great. Look into a school called Blink Spanish. It's a Spanish. It's the best Spanish school in Medellin. It's called Blink Spanish, and it's affordable. That doesn't break the bank, and it's in Barrio Manila, which is like the coolest neighborhood in El Poblado, a flat area with cafes, restaurants. It's awesome. So check that out. Just got my visa extension approved, and I am in the process of eventually obtaining permanent residency. Nice. Cars are rarely used here. So many used cars have so few kilometers. I know. I bought a 2010. It only had like 200,000 kilometers or something like that. Less than 200,000 kilometers, which is great. What about it if you personally have a personal brokerage account with Charles Schwab? No, it has to be a Colombian brokerage account. Because you have to bring your money into Colombia, and it has to be nationalized through the national bank. So you have to have an account in Colombia with a Colombian brokerage firm, and obviously they will help nationalize the money for you and move the money when you're going to buy something like a car or an apartment. Andrew, what is your favorite between Laureles and Envigado? Oh, that's a hard one, man. Alex, great question. What's your favorite between Laureles and Envigado? Shoot, okay, so I'll give you my take. When I was younger, I lived in I lived in Laureles. I lived in Floresta also, which is adjacent to Laureles, like right next to the stadium. I loved it because it's all flat. I walked everywhere. I would walk to the stadium and use their Olympic pools and do laps pretty much every day because I would have like a 2-hour lunch break when teaching. So I would literally get on the metro, go do laps, have lunch, and then go back to teaching. It was awesome. Loved Laureles. Now, I wouldn't want to be in Laureles because I have a kid and I feel like Laureles is too congested. It's like in the middle of the city, so there's traffic going through it all hours of the day and night. And during peak hours, the streets get way too congested. And since I think it's at a lower elevation than, like, for example, the neighborhoods in Envigado and El Poblado, so it's hotter there. It feels hotter and muggier. So that's why I would pick Envigado over Laureles. And I wouldn't want to be in the hills of Envigado, though. If I lived in Envigado, it would be closer to like the park, the Envigado Square, or like La Buena Mesa area, which is kind of like a little Manila area where they have restaurants and cafes and stuff. Love that area. I think it's called Jardín or something like that. But yeah, so it just depends on your lifestyle. Like when I had that lifestyle where I was using the metro every day, going to the stadium to go play basketball, to go use the pools every day, and just walking around everywhere, Laureles was great for me. But now I don't really look for that because obviously I have a kid, so it's a little different. The 180 so Ches says the 183-day rule for Colombian tax residency is based on any 365-day period. Yes, a rolling 12-month period, not a calendar year. Exactly. I learned Spanish through Duolingo. After 3 years, I was fluent. No way, Card. You must know your learning style very well. I've used Duolingo. I actually like, what's the other one that's better? Babbel. Babbel was better for me. Duolingo was good, like a good introduction for French. But once I started taking classes, I got into Babbel, and that helped me speed up my learning. I saw Blink School in one of your videos. I will visit that school when I get there in April. Nice. Yeah. The school's awesome. They're highly rated, and they're growing because they're good. I do get treated badly by some of the Colombian xenophobic people because I think it happens a lot more in the United States than it would happen here to a foreigner, but I don't know. I don't have that experience because I speak Spanish, but I get it. Yeah, I think a lot of countries have, those type of people that are very patriotic and territorial and will be xenophobic towards foreigners if they don't speak their language. I think, in the United States, it's worse. Thank you so much, brother, for the info. You are very knowledgeable about the city. My goal is to move to Medellin. I am 25 right now. I'm living in Miami. Oh, yeah, Alex. At 25, I think Laureles will suit you because there's a lot more to do. Envigado is more of like a calmer, slower pace. Again, it depends on your personality. Slower paced city. It's on the outskirts of Medellin. Well, it's not even in Medellin. It's adjacent to Medellin. So it's away from like all the stuff that happens in Medellin, but it has its own like little downtown area. It's got its own restaurant alley or area as well. It's got some nightlife, and it's got like beautiful hills, beautiful views. It's a great place. John says, hey, enjoy your channel. Are there opportunities for English teachers with decades worth of Spanish exposure and education? Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're certified, there's definitely opportunity here because many people want to learn. They've realized that if they learn English, they make more money. So, there are call centers here. There are, for example, my cousin, he worked at a call center for Lyft. Here in Medellin, there's call centers for many businesses out here that offer better pay than most jobs because, they speak English. How's the handicap access for wheelchair? I've noticed that they've improved that. When I first got here, because my grandma, she's 93 now, and she's in a wheelchair. And we've noticed that there is more accessibility because when I got here 15, 16 years ago in 2010, it was rough. Like I always looked around. I'm like, man, this city is definitely not for old people or people in wheelchairs. Now it's much more accessible. Like you'll see on the streets, they'll have like ramps going down because before there would just be like a cliff. Obviously, in the lower income neighborhoods, it's less accessible. In the higher income neighborhoods like El Poblado and some of Laureles, very accessible. And malls and parks, all accessible. I was very impressed, and we keep noticing it now because my grandma is in a wheelchair. I've stayed a couple times in Envigado near Viva. Oh yeah, Viva Envigado, I love it, and like it a lot, but don't like how far it is from El Poblado and La Verdad. Yeah, that's why I moved to El Poblado because everywhere I've lived in 7 different neighborhoods in my 16 years here, and I always found myself, no matter what neighborhood I lived in, I would find myself in El Poblado looking for the things that I like to do, like the sports bar, the cafes, the co-working spaces. So I just said, fuck it, I got to live in El Poblado. But it is nice. I like living here. And now with a kid and having like the pool and the amenities is awesome. I've stayed a couple times in Envigado near Review. Okay, I just read that, sorry. I like how Laureles has La Setenta, so good. Yeah, I lived near there, La Setenta. I loved it when I was in my 20s. When I got here, I was 28. I loved Laureles. I was so vibrant. La Setenta with all its music, street vendors. Loved that. That was a super fun time for me. When I purchased my condo over there, I will be with you. I have a condo in Miami. I'm currently paying it off. Okay, Alex. Awesome, man. Fuck. 25 years old and you're already making moves. That's awesome. Congrats. I was so impressed with Medellin compared to Cali. Now I want to sell my property in Cali to move there. If only my Caleña wife would let me. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but maybe if you bring her here enough, she'll like it. But yeah, it's hard to get a Colombian out of their city. It's hard. Okay, so we just talked about quality of life. It's gotten more expensive, but quality of life is still very high. And for people making dollars, that quality of life isn't as expensive as it is for a local. So it's still recommended. It's one of the top cities to visit and also to retire in or to live long term. Okay, so the next point is Airbnb. Vivienda turística and digital nomads reshape the city. According to Bloomberg, Medellin developers are now building digital nomad-focused buildings and co-living spaces, specifically targeting long-stay foreigners and remote workers. According to Medellin advisors, the boom in furnished rentals and foreign capital is one of the reasons Medellin now tops the country for rent, especially in El Poblado, Laureles, and new cool pockets. According to the Medellin Tourism Trends Forum, the city is openly talking about how to balance tourist housing with local needs and is bringing together the Chamber of Commerce, city government, and private sector to adjust policy. So there's a new proposal where it's going to make it, they're going to be more stringent on daily rentals, only daily rentals. So for example, if you buy an apartment here, You put it pretty much, I would say 95% of the people that buy properties through our company, the Medellin Living Real Estate Company, are people that are going to live in the property and or rent it out when they're not here. And when they rent it out, they're not doing it daily. They're renting it out monthly. So those people are not going to be affected by any of these new policies. The people that will be affected by those policies are people that are in residential buildings, like the one that I'm in right now, have a rental, and instead of renting it for 1 month or more, long contracts, they're doing dailies. They're basically illegally, where they shouldn't be doing dailies. Those people are going to get hammered on because that's because if you do that in residential buildings, obviously you're going to a Colombian that thinks he's sly and doing that, yes, they're making more money, but they're also not catering to Colombians. So the government wants to put a stop to that. So it's going to make it more stringent on those people that are trying to do dailies in non-daily operated residential units. In order to do daily rentals, you have to meet certain requirements. And now those requirements are going to be very stringent. The government's going to be on them. You have to report. For example, mine are daily rentals, and you have to report all your guests, just like a hotel. When you go to a hotel here, you fill out a form, like where are you coming from, what's the reason for your stay, your name, your passport, a copy of your ID, etc. We do that with all of our guests. And if you're operating a daily rental, you have to do that by the government's rules. That's nothing new. Now they're just going to be more stringent on that and making sure that your building is in fact covered to do daily rentals. And if it's not, you'll get fined. It's not like you're going to go to jail or anything, but you'll get fined and it's going to hurt your pocket. So you might as well just stick to the rules and only do 30-day rentals. Even though I can do daily rentals in my apartments, I prefer not to. I do monthly rentals because that renter is much better. They take care, because these are like luxury apartments or nice apartments. They take care of the apartment better. They don't bring prostitutes over or do drugs or have parties. When I started and I did the daily rentals, I learned that real quick. We got like calls from the neighbors at like 3 a.m. that people were yelling or drinking or smoking, and I have a strict no smoking policy. So yeah, monthly rentals are better. The yield is lower, but not by much. Maybe like it would be a lot if I said 20%. You could make 20% more if I did daily rentals, but it's more of a headache, more staff, more cleaning ladies, etc. More turnover. It's not conducive to my lifestyle. Again, I like a lifestyle business, so monthly rentals are awesome. And the cool thing is that a lot of the people that rent my apartments, they become my friends because I actually, this year I haven't been doing it as much, but I usually, when I started, I would go greet them, obviously, show them around. Now it's like my team that does that for me. But sometimes I'll go and I'm in the chats with them on Airbnb in the chat. And we become like friends because they always come back. Okay, so wish Colombia had easy residency. Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty easy. You just have to get a visa, like a migrant visa, whether it's through an investment of a business, shareholder visa, or buying a property out here or getting married. You hold it for about 5 years and you get residency. So it's like 5 years of renewals. And usually those visas are good for 2 years, sometimes 3 years. So you will only have to renew like twice or once, depending on how long they grant the visa for. Aren't monthlies way more common and allowed? Yes, exactly. In residential buildings like the one that I'm in, you can only do 30-day or longer contracts for your tenants. And that's what they are. They're tenants. They're not hotel guests or Airbnb guests. They are your tenants for, a month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. So yes, you can definitely do that. And you could put it up on a platform. What you can't do is do less than 30 days and try to get away with it. Do you see Poblado to continue growing or another area evolving in Medellin? Yes, Poblado is continuing to grow. Yeah, Poblado is definitely growing. A lot of construction. There's still a lot to do here. And it's only going to get better. Millions of dollars are being poured in to the neighborhood. particularly like the tourist area of like Calle 10, Parque Lleras, Provenza, Parque del Poblado. All that area is getting constructed. There's like hotels going up, Airbnb, daily rental apartment buildings as well. So it's definitely growing, and it's going to continue to grow. And other areas that are growing are like Laureles, even like parts of Belén. Envigado is growing as well. I think the whole city and the whole valley is definitely going through an upward trend of growth. And because some locals were priced out of Laureles, they moved to Sabaneta, and Sabaneta has been growing and kind of exploding actually with construction out there, because a lot of locals were kind of like displaced to that area. But Sabaneta is an awesome area to live in. It's beautiful. Let me know if you guys have been to Sabaneta. If you haven't, you should go and have one of the buñuelos there. The buñuelos are awesome. Andrew, we need to get together, get in touch para mi próximo viaje. Yes, Card Shark. Make sure to click on any of the links, and if you're going to buy a property, fill out the form. Obviously, I'll get in touch there, or you can email me at medellinbuzzandrew@gmail.com as well. But yeah, we'll definitely get in touch, or maybe go to an event. While we plan our move, what can we do to build credit in Colombia, as we're still like 2 to 3 years before the move? Interesting. Hector, what can you do? Well, if you're visiting here, you should get your route when on a visit. Get your RUT number and open up a bank account. Get a credit card here. Maybe get like a cell phone bill. Just start doing the stuff that you would do in the United States to build credit. Some small payments that are reported to the credit bureaus here. And you can ask, like if you go to Tigo or whatever, Movie Star or whatever, and you get like a cell phone plan or something. I think my cell phone plan is like $40 or something like that. You can you make sure that they report to the credit bureaus. La Octava Maravilla, Sabaneta is nice. Sabaneta is amazing, bro. I love the buñuelos, and they are huge next to the church. Yes, I love that. Yabba Dabba Doo says, went to Sabaneta Park for the first time to see the Christmas lights. Oh, man, I love that. Not one tourist in sight. Yeah, I love going to the Sabaneta Park and the Envigado Park for the Christmas lights. We're going to go this week sometime with the baby. I was thinking about investing in buñuelos. Oh, no, in Buenos Aires. You mean Buenos Aires here in Medellin? I was thinking about investing in Buenos Aires, the first place I stayed, and I frequent every time I'm there, closer to Bomboná. It's near El Centro. The metro passes through it, less expensive. Yes. Buenos Aires is a good example of growth, because ever since they built the light rail that goes up, that's integrated with the metro system, that place blew up. Meaning blew up in a good way, like commerce. It's safer to walk because it's all lit up. Yeah, it's definitely undergone a great change. And next year, or in the next couple of years, that will be happening to La Ochenta in Laureles. I'll be reporting on it. And right now, you can buy an apartment on La Ochenta in Laureles, that area, for like $100,000, $200,000 if it's a big place. But once that's built out and the metro system is going through it, it's going to get higher. It's going to get more expensive because there's more tourism, more traffic, more commerce there, and it'll be a desirable place to live. Any concerns by you about the U.S. possibly striking Venezuela and how that may affect Colombia? To be honest, it doesn't affect us at all. I mean, Jesse, you're here. As far as like Colombian daily life, none of that really affects us. Most Colombians that you would ask probably wouldn't even know that that's going on. We only know it because I see like U.S. news in my social media feeds or whatever. And I listen to Jimmy Kimmel in the morning. But other than that, it doesn't really bother. I'm not too concerned. I think that's going to blow over here soon. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if the U.S. was the one responsible for Chavez and Maduro being president there. It only makes sense. But anyway, oh, you're living in Florida, Jesse. Okay. Yeah, so it doesn't affect daily life here, but I'm hoping it'll just blow over. I don't really concern myself too much with that. Hi Andrew, I love your neighborhood Manila, but it looks like there's no new condos, only new hotels. Do you know of any new developments around? I found Londoño Gomez M Living. It's okay. Yeah, M Living is in La Linde, which is across the street from Manila. Awesome place, but M Living, those apartments are very expensive because they're brand new and they seemed small to me. Yeah, I think they're all sold out too, by the way, because it is a very desirable area. But yeah, there's no look into like Patio Bonito, Astorga. There's some new buildings there, and also a lot of apartment buildings in Patio Bonito. I am from the U.S., so legally I can stay there 6 months during the year without visa, right? Yes, just a tourist visa. Yes. Is marijuana legal in Colombia? Yeah, for personal consumption, I think you could carry up to like 10 grams, 10 or 20 grams, as long as it's not like baggied up like you're selling it. That's as far as I understand. I don't know. I don't smoke weed, but I did have an employee that smoked weed, so he would let us know. Um, I stay in Buenos Aires if you want the real Medellin experience. Yeah. Um, I loved living in downtown. I lived in Bombonan. I lived off La Playa for about a year and a half in downtown. It was definitely the most fun I've had while living in Medellin was living in downtown because every day is like chaos down there. It's like a controlled chaos, though. I never saw anything. The craziest thing I saw in downtown one time was that there was like a march, like the students were marching for something for their university, and they got in a fight with like the SWAT police here called ASMAT, and I was walking to work. I was walking because I lived in downtown and I taught English in downtown. And I was walking through like the streets of downtown, got to the main road, which is called La Oriental, which turns into Avenida Poblado down here. And all of a sudden, a big explosion. It was one of those concussion grenades. My teeth rattled. It was the craziest thing ever. I've only seen it. Like I saw it at a soccer match here once, and it was happening like where the fans, like the real hardcore fans, were like in the south end, and the concussion grenade went off, and we saw it from a distance, and it was like, oh shit, that's crazy. But when you're there and you feel it go through your whole body, I literally did like a 180. And I'm like, nope, this is not for me. Walked back home, called the school. I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to walk through this right now. And of course, they canceled the class. But yeah, it was crazy. But that was the craziest thing I saw while living in Medellin. While living in Medellin, but particularly downtown. I stayed in Laureles, Envigado, but never Sabaneta or El Poblado. Yeah, both. I think every neighborhood in Medellin has its own charm, which is cool because like, even El Poblado, for example, has 22 neighborhoods within it. So a lot of people associate El Poblado with just the tourism area, which is Provenza and Parquelleras. But it has so many other neighborhoods, and they all have like their distinct charm. One of my favorites is where my business partner, AK, moved. He lives in San Lucas, and I love that area. It's hilly. It's a little hilly, but if you don't mind the hills and you like walking and exercise, it's awesome. Great cafes, great co-working spots there. Yeah. So yeah, it just depends on what you like. Bomboná is always alive 24 hours. Yeah, the emergency is 10x more than Poblado, and the energy. Yes, the emergency, the energy. The U.S. and versus Venezuela thing hasn't affected my life in Medellin at all, says Jesse. Jesse, sorry, I thought this Jesse was the other Jesse asking. I'm like, why is Jesse asking this? Thank you for answering that, Jesse, though. Hey, Ruel, what's up? The only thing dangerous about Medellin is not wanting to leave. Prove me wrong. Exactly. Ruel and his wife, your significant other. They bought a property out here and they remodeled it completely, and they have it on Airbnb. It's awesome. It's beautiful. And they've done really well, and they should buy more. But yeah, the only thing dangerous here is the only risk is not wanting to leave, I guess. It's way safer in El Poblado. Yeah, El Poblado is safer than downtown for sure. Hey, what's your opinion of the current president of Colombia? A lot of people thought that Colombia, since he leans left a lot, right? He's basically socialist or leans social. Everyone thought, when he got elected, like, oh, Colombia is going to turn into the next Venezuela. And honestly, the economy has grown. The tourism has grown. Our international alliances and international conduct has been better. Maybe not with the United States, but with all other countries, it's been better. Safety has gone up, not only in Medellin, but in the whole country. So I think he's done a great job, even though I don't agree with a lot of the stuff that he wanted to do and couldn't do because the House is not socialist and don't approve a lot of the things that he wanted to do. He's on his way out now. He's like in his lame duck period right now. And the next president that's going to be voted in will probably be more conservative. I mean, I don't think you could be more left than this guy, but it'll be more conservative. So again, with conservatism, you have more capital, more capitalistic, I guess, ideology, government. So I think it's only going to get better. He's done a good job with what he's done so far, but I think a new president's definitely going to ramp up the whole country, hopefully. So is Patio Bonito good neighborhood? Yeah, this is where I live. I love it. All my walking videos that you see, most of them are in Patio Bonito. Would you say it's comparable to Manila? Yeah. I honestly believe that Patio Bonito is going to be the next Manila. Like there's a pocket in Patio Bonito where there's restaurants. There's one hotel and hostel. No, there's two now. And they're building another one. They just built Mixta, which is like a giant one. So it's... Oh, actually, there's like 3 hotels here now because you've got the Sites Hotel, you've got Mixta, and you've got Vibes, which is kind of like a hostel hotel with a pool and everything. It's awesome. And there's a couple other little ones. Oh, yeah. What is it? The Black Sheep Hostel is in Patio Bonito as well, like 2 blocks from me. It's so funny because when I got here 16 years ago, I lived in the Black Sheep Hostel because I was broke and could only live in a hostel. And now I live 2 blocks away from them in my own apartment, which is awesome. But yeah, I love this neighborhood. If I want to buy an apartment, do I need all the money up front or is there financing available? Again, there is financing the way that financing works in the United States and most countries. If you've got Colombian credit and you apply for a mortgage and you qualify for that mortgage, you'll get the credit. But if you don't live here, you don't have any credit here, you can't walk into a bank and ask for a $200,000 loan. It's like, I don't think you could do that anywhere in the world. So yeah, that's the caveat when buying property out here is that you need to figure out the financing part first, whether it's getting a loan in the United States, whether it's getting a home equity line of credit on your current home in the United States, selling something over there, and then buying here. Sorry, coming into the conversation a little late, looking to rent first. What are the sites to look in? Thanks for renting. So if you want to go through like a traditional route, if you don't have like a local ID and there's no way to like verify your funds, or you don't have a bank account here, it's going to be hard through the local measures, but you can Google, arriendo, apartamento, and arriendo. Arriendo is for rent. And Medellin, you can Google that and a bunch of sites will pop up. And if you're looking for a furnished rental, like a alternative to Airbnb, look up Nomad Barrio, like this.com. That's a website where I have my properties listed there, and I charge less on Nomad Barrio because there's no fee to have my property up on there, as opposed to Airbnb. They take like, with the sales tax and their cut, you're out like 20% when you list to do Airbnb. So usually if I rent off of the Airbnb platform, not on Airbnb, I usually give about a 20% discount. The crime has gone down because of the conservative mayors and governors. Yeah, but it seems like it's gone down like in all of the United States, all of Colombia. I think it's gone up in the U.S. now, but yeah, here it's gone down all of Colombia, but particularly here in Medellin. And I feel it too, because when I walk around with my cell phone out and stuff, I don't feel like people are watching me, or I don't feel a threat at all, ever, when I'm doing that. And I wouldn't be able to say that, 15 years ago, that would be the case, because I think I would be more paranoid. Obviously, I didn't know the city as well as I do now. What's up, Alejo? ¿Qué más? Hey, Andrew, what is the main lesson learned from this year living in Medellin? Ooh, Dang, we're trying to get deep. That's my cousin, by the way, Alejandro Gonzalez. What's the main lesson learned from living this year, living in Medellin? Okay, so there's been a couple lessons. Number one, the first lesson was with my kid, that having a kid is amazing, and it's I used to love teaching English because it was so rewarding to watch someone transform from not knowing much English, or when they got to my class, they knew enough that they were like intermediate level. And then once they were done, 6 months later through my class, and watching them go from like an intermediate level to an advanced level, and then them taking a test like the TESOL exam or any type of international exam to certify their English level, because a lot of them would take English, at the English course in order to get certified to go work like in Australia or in Canada, and seeing that was super rewarding. But now having a kid, that reward is amplified by like a million, because it's like your flesh and blood, right? Like watching him learn something, even if it's like I remember when he learned how to take the cap out. He's only a year and a half, so he's learning all these things. But taking the cap off the water bottle and then putting it back on and watching him, and then him smiling that he did it, and I was like, oh my God, we got to celebrate. That's like the first lesson that I learned this year. Another lesson that I learned here is that, there's been a couple, but one of the lessons that I learned here is that when you're buying property in Medellin, you definitely need a good lawyer. And by good, I mean someone that responds quickly, because a deal can be dead in a day because someone didn't respond quickly. They didn't do the title due diligence fast enough. They didn't create the purchase agreement fast enough. So mind who you get in business with. And when you hire a lawyer for buying a property, you're basically going into business with them because you're relying on them to do these important tasks that need to be done timely. If it takes them a month or 2 weeks to get like a purchase agreement out and do the title due diligence, that might be too late. The owner might get another offer for more money. We've lost a couple deals because of that. So now we tend to only work with the attorneys that we like, that we know that will act quickly. A couple of them are Nexo Legal and Langdon Law. We've had great relationships with both of them. They're bigger firms, so they take longer than like a personal attorney, like my attorney, Juliana. That's the one that I always recommend a client go to. But a lot of the times the client will already have a relationship with the attorney or like a law firm, which is fine. But if they don't, I always say, okay, she's going to be pricier than like these bigger offices, but not by much. But she works on her birthday. It was her birthday the other day, and she was replying and sending out like a purchase agreement. I'm like, isn't it your birthday today? Like, go take a day off. Works weekends. She traveled to Europe. We closed deals while she was in Europe working remotely. It was awesome. So that's like a big lesson learned this year, particularly because of the real estate business. Okay, so Petro was not done anything to make Colombia better. Not one thing. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Colombia has been safer. The economy is stronger, and international relationships seem stronger too. Again, I'm not a big politics guy. I don't rely on the government to ever take care of me. Is San Lucas a good neighborhood? Yes, it is. A lot of people recommend it, but I found it boring and isolated, and you need a car to get around. Yes, it's one of those exclusive neighborhoods for like locals. Like if you ask a local Colombian what their dream would be, is like, oh, I'd love to own a penthouse in El Poblado, particularly like near the country club like San Lucas, or in the hills like San Lucas. That's why it's more desirable for Colombians and locals. For us, that we like to walk around a lot. I like to be out of the house. For me, it's not conducive to my lifestyle. I like more flat area, like the one I live in. If you had to guess, what would you say the ratio of expat to native residents in El Poblado? I mean, I think it's like, it would be a lot if I said there was 10% expats. I think it's more like less than 5%. The latest stats, I think, were less than 5%, like 3 years ago. So maybe it's 5% now. In my building, there's not one. There's 150 people that live here. I've never seen one foreigner, and I'm in El Poblado. So in any residential building that you live in El Poblado, it's going to be all 95%, if not more, Colombians. Um, but sometimes I guess the more trendy buildings or the ones that are near like the tourist areas, you'll find more foreigners because obviously they rent them out on Airbnb. Alejo says, yeah, that's amazing. The baby is great. Yeah. I've been staying in El Tesoro. Love it up there, but it's impossible to walk up there daily. I know. I noticed new buildings even further up are being built. Is it still worth investing or is it hard to walk? Well, if you're investing and you're going to be renting it out, remember, most tourists, they don't walk, especially Americans. They're not walking anywhere. They're taking Ubers everywhere. For one, it's not in their culture to walk anywhere. But number two, Uber is super cheap here. So if you rent out there, your potential to make money is a little lower than being in the near the tourist areas or in a flat neighborhood. But it's still, I think, a good investment because the appreciation alone is good, especially near El Tesoro. That area is very desirable. Yeah, for me, it would be hard to live there because I like to walk everywhere. And I've walked to El Tesoro from here, and it's grueling. It's an uphill battle. Walking down is great, though. I've been staying. Okay, I just read that. I had to guess the ratio has to be 90-10 more locals. Yeah, it's about nine. I would say 10 would be a lot, too, especially for expats. If it's tourists, yeah, but expats, meaning they're living here full time, it's probably lower than 10%. Patio Bonito versus El Tesoro. Can you please break down El Poblado? Patio Bonito's flat area. It's walking distance to the metro, walking distance to the Monterrey Mall, walking distance to Clínica Las Vegas, which is right here, like the clinic, walking distance to everything, pretty much. I mean, I don't ever use my car. I rarely use my car. And if you compare that to El Tesoro is more high-end, beautiful apartments. These newer apartments, these are like the building that I live in has to be at least 20, 25 years old, if not more. Beautiful amenities in El Tesoro. Also, it's more of like a status symbol to live in El Tesoro for Colombians because it is a higher income neighborhood. Also, El Tesoro is a Estrato 6, which is the highest socioeconomic stratum in Colombia. And Patio Bonito is what is it called? It's a stratum 5. So that's the main differences. Hi, Andrew. What are your thoughts on buying lots and building from the ground up? I think that's a great idea. Buying lots and building from the ground up is a great idea. The problem is that there's not many lots for sale. So what people do is they buy old houses and they tear them down because usually the zoning will allow to build up to 6 floors in residential areas. And with permits, you could go up to 9 floors. Alex says, got to be Las Palmas. Yeah, Las Palmas is super high. I'm considering one day, this is Yusuf. What's up, Yusuf? I'm considering one day to start a real estate company in Colombia owned by a Norwegian holding company. My plan is to one day buy a couple apartments in Colombia and live off the rent. Yes, Yusuf. Click the link in the description below, fill out the form, and I can help you with that. Yeah, but definitely, that's a great plan, Yusuf. It feels like you walk uphill both ways, says JB. I've been in Medellin 3 times now. Love the city. Living in Canada, looking to buy property in the next 10 years will be much change in 10 years from now. Yes, there will be much change from like a year from now. So yes, in 10 years, I think the city will be very different. Again, like I mentioned before, the metro is expanding. So that means more accessibility, more public transportation that is affordable, connecting parts of the city that aren't connected. So yeah, the city is going to change a lot. Living in El Tesoro feels like living in a different city. I was looking at La Prestige building in Lomas 1. It's nice, but expensive. Yes, I think that's what you wanted to write. Yeah, Medellin is not walking friendly for Hawaiian guys like me. Too many hills. Yeah, but I mean, you can be in a flat area in Medellin. That's why I like living where I live because it's like very little hills, and I walk everywhere. I love it. I wouldn't want it any other way. Okay, so the next point, we talked about Airbnb, the new measures that they're proposing on controlling these daily rentals and getting rid of the illegal daily rental apartments in residential buildings. The next one is safety. There's been more tourists, and there have been some headlines, but less than last year. So in 2024, total deaths of foreign tourists, according to elpaís.com, there were 29 violent deaths of foreign tourists in Medellin in 2024. That's about 1 every 6 days, with at least half of those victims being U.S. citizens. And I think we all know how those people passed away. Most of them were through being overdosed on escopolamina or whatever they were given in their drink in order to rob them by their Tinder date or by the prostitute that they picked up off the street. That's been kind of like the common theme surrounding those deaths, and it sucks. I mean, even 1 would be too much, but 29 in 2024 was a lot. 2025 deaths of tourists so far, according to Caracol Radio, foreign tourist deaths in Medellin rose by 65% in early 2025, reaching 31 deaths in just the first 6 months of the year. These were a mix of homicides, overdose, robberies, and incidents still under investigation. So this year, by half of the year, there was already more deaths than last year. Last year was 29 reported. This year, by half of the year, there's 31. So I'm assuming it's probably going to be around more than 40 this year, total numbers. Although I haven't heard of any recently. It's been weird. Like I heard like the beginning of the year until about the middle of the year, it was like a headline all the time. Now, since like the middle of the year, I haven't heard of anybody. I've heard of people getting robbed and drugged and robbed, but maybe they're learning how to dose better. I don't know, because they were overdosing people a lot at the beginning of the year. So yeah, I think they rose this year, but also I think travelers are more aware of this risk. And if you're playing that game, it's kind of a downside to that game that people are playing, which is basically sex tourism. Yeah, I mean, I think I've covered that enough in other videos and stuff where we know what not to do out here. And, you know, picking up hookers off the street or on Tinder or whatever is definitely not cool. It's not cool. I don't care what you do with your personal life and your money or whatever and your time. It's not cool because you run the risk of dying. That's not cool. Or at the very least getting robbed. And it's not like it's happening to everyone, because even if it's 40 people out of the 1.8 million people that traveled to Colombia, that percentage is minuscule. It's less than 1%, less than 0.5% of the people that came through here suffered that fate. But I'm sure that number is a lot higher of the people that were robbed and never reported it, or that were drugged and robbed and never reported it out of shame. Maybe they were married, maybe they have a wife and children in the States and they didn't want that to get out, or maybe it's just embarrassing for some people, so they won't report it. I know, because I know a couple people. In my 16 years here, I've known 2 people personally that have been drugged, but that's it. Obviously, I've heard all the stories of the others, but I never met them or knew them. I've known 2 people that were drugged and robbed, and one was last year, and the other one was like 2 years ago. And one of them got robbed big time. He got robbed for about $200,000 of cryptocurrency. That was crazy. That alone right there. I don't care how desperate I am. I could be locked up in prison, but I'm not going to be picking up any hookers. I mean, come on. You got to understand that that's going to end terribly for you. It's Colombia. You don't even need apps. Just walk around. Yeah, exactly. I love living here. Great point, Hellas. I love living in Colombia because people are so social, friendly, warm, that I'll walk anywhere. I'll walk into any store and people are talking to you right away. Meeting people is super easy. Yes, they're flaky, but if someone likes you and genuinely wants to get with you, they will meet you. They will be kind of on time sometimes, but they won't disrespect you as much as, like, I've heard in the United States, where women will just literally blatantly put guys down, when they're trying to approach them, for like no particular reason, just because they don't want to be approached, I guess. I don't know. It seems like a problem in the U.S. It's not a problem here. I just say hola, ¿cómo estás? And that's it. Easy like eating bread. So, easy like eating bread. Okay, let me read what MS says, and I'll tell you this little story. When I retire, I will be contacting your company so I can move from Canada to Medellin. Is common or accepted to buy with cash, so no mortgage, no debt? Yep, exactly. Most sellers don't have a mortgage attached to their property. Out of the many properties that we sold this year, only 2 of them had a mortgage attached that had to be paid off to the bank before they could sell it. It's a little bit of a process, but it's just like a little speed bump in the purchasing process, but not out of the norm. But yeah, most people own their properties outright with no mortgage. That's why there's no foreclosure market here. Like banks don't, it's not very rare for there to be like a foreclosure and people trying to buy a foreclosed property because there's not many of them. So I was sitting at the cafe the other day with my sister and my cousin. They were both very pretty Colombian girls, but obviously they're Americanized. They live in the United States for many years. But we weren't talking. We were all on our laptops working, and there was like a foreign guy. I think he was American. I don't know, but he was sitting next to my cousin, like drinking his coffee. I don't know, reading a book or something. And he got up, paid, and left. And my cousin, she looks over at my sister. He handed her a Post-it note that said "Hola," like in broken Spanish writing. I didn't want to bother you. You seem busy, but you're very pretty. Would you like to get together sometime? Here's my phone number. I thought that was so creative because obviously if someone's working on their laptop, you don't want to bother them, but this could be your opportunity. And he left a little Post-it note. Obviously she wasn't interested, but if she were like a single woman living here, and she was only here for my brother's wedding, so it's not like she's living here, she's only visiting. So, but if it was like a single woman that was, looking, I think that would have worked because the guy wasn't a bad looking guy either. And I think he was riding a motorcycle too. So he's like a local or a foreigner that actually lives here. I thought that was creative. I've never tried that, but maybe I'll try it sometime. Just write out a whole bunch of Post-it notes and start leaving them in the metro, handing them out like I'm a salesman or something. Okay, so yeah, if you pay attention while in traffic, you will see the stand-up electric scooters people at the most mobile, compact, and fastest way to get around. Yes, I want to buy. So I bought one and returned it because it wasn't working right. I don't know, something was wrong with it, and they actually gave me my money back because I was like, I changed my mind. I actually don't want a scooter, but when I had it for that like week, I loved it. It was awesome, and it's fast. Those things go fast. The one that I had was got up to 60 kilometers per hour. Obviously I didn't go that fast, but I found myself just walking. I walk because of the exercise factor. So it's like having the scooter would be cool if I had to commute to work and stuff. But for what I do, I love walking. But yeah, they're awesome. Growing up in the 90s and working in different sectors and becoming self-employed, the United States, our culture has gone downhill. It's almost embarrassing to say from here. Sorry, Jubilee. Yeah. I mean, there's pros and cons to everything. I think it's still awesome. It's still a great country with its own cultures. But yeah, I mean, being in a country like this one with that foreign income makes it very desirable to live here. Well, even in a car or on a motorcycle, you are not any safer, in my opinion. It's deadly every time anyone is risk going into traffic. Yeah, I mean, I didn't feel. I didn't. When I drive very safe. I don't feel in danger when I drive my car. When I was riding around in the scooter, I didn't feel like I was gonna get run over or anything. There are bike lanes here, which is cool. Do you have any tattoos? Alex asked. No, I don't. I'm old school. My dad brought me up old school. He says, he thought, he instilled in me that like tattoos are for criminals. And even though I became a criminal, I was living illegally in the United States. I never got a tattoo. But I always thought like if I did get a tattoo, it would have to be like something that means a lot to me. Now having a kid, maybe I'll have his name or something tattooed on me, but I don't know. That seems kind of corny. I think it just depends on how you get it made. But yeah, I'm not like running to go get one right now. How complicated is it for a Canadian to buy property in Medellin? It's not complicated at all as long as you have cash. Is it a long process or lots of steps since I'm a foreigner? No, it's the same steps for everyone. Basically, you find a property, you make an informal offer, usually via WhatsApp to the seller's agent or the seller directly if you're lucky enough to find a seller directly, and negotiate the price just verbally like that. You got to set dates when you make that offer. So let's say you're offering to buy the apartment for $200,000. You offer the price of $200,000 in pesos. I never use USD here. You always use pesos, the equivalent of what that is in pesos. And then you set a date. You said, okay, I'm ready to buy this, and we will sign the purchase agreement 1 week from today. So that gives your attorney 7 days to do which is more than enough time to do the title research, due diligence, and draw up the purchase agreement and work together with either their rep or their attorney to meet in the middle for the purchase agreement. It's pretty standard. They're all very similar. And then on that date, you sign the purchase agreement, and then you give another date, usually like 3 weeks out, to close. And usually that's done. So the purchase agreement can be signed via DocuSign online. You don't even have to be in the country. But to close, you physically have to go to the notary, or you have to have someone that has power of attorney to sign for you at the notary. So that's it. It's pretty easy. You'll have to set up a bank account, a brokerage account that will act as your bank in Colombia with, I always recommend Alianza. It's the same process for everyone. For locals, they don't have to set up a brokerage account. Although locals living in Colombia and transferring money into the country, they'll set up a brokerage account because they don't want to send large amounts of money to their personal bank accounts, which makes sense. Because the banks here, their anti-laundering policies make everything hard. I made that first mistake when I bought my first property here. It was like $62,000, and we transferred from our bank account in the United States to our personal account here, and we had to show so much paperwork to the bank to show where that money came from. They even, since I have a digital marketing company, they wanted to see the articles of incorporation. They wanted to see contracts with the clients that are paying us this money, etc. So it's just easier through the brokerage account. I hope that answers that question. I bought all 3 of my homes, cars, and motorcycles in cash. And in fact, I buy everything with cash except for gas, grocery, salon. Yeah, it's good to have credit. I have great credit here. But yeah, I own everything outright. What is interesting, the Colombian people I have spoken with have no interest in coming to America. I'm trying to get out once I retire. Yeah, most people, like I know a few Colombians that have gone to the United States and working on their legalization there because obviously the opportunity is still there. You can be a waiter in LA, in New York, in Jersey, and make way more money and save and send money to your family down here, or save, live modestly over there, save enough money, over 2-3 years and buy a property in Colombia. Whereas if you're doing that in the United States, you've got to build your credit up and then get a 30-year mortgage, and you'll never own your property. I mean, the likelihood of you actually owning it is very low. You'll probably sell it before you actually pay it off, or you might just die before you pay it off. So it's just a different way of life, right? How about a brokerage that is available in all countries like Interactive Brokerage or Morgan Stanley? No, it has to be a Colombian brokerage firm like Alianza or Acciones y Valores. I used to live in the safe area outside. Oh, and by the way, it's free to open up those accounts. They charge you 1% of the transferred amount. That's their fee, and that's it. There's no setup fees or anything like that, or maintenance fees, nothing like that for the brokerage account. Unless if you add services, because they do have like a debit card service. Those have added expenses, but if you're just using it to bring in money and then take the money out to buy something, it's just that 1% fee. I used to live, how is it raising a family? Finding someone to share your life with? How is the actual dating culture, not referring to dating around, just sleeping around. I don't know. I just sleep around. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not like a big relationship guy. Like the longest relationship I've ever had is like 6 months, but all the girlfriends that I've had here have been awesome. They've been warm. They've been friendly. Met their families have been amazing. It's the dating culture is awesome here. I love it. My kid's mom, her family is awesome. We get along amazingly with her. Although we're not together, we definitely spend a lot of time together, obviously because of the baby, and we like each other's company. I mean, she's great. She and my dad run the 5-star hosts property management company that we set up. So we work together all the time, and it's like a family business. So yeah, it's great. I think the people that get in trouble here are people that consistently get in trouble with women or men in their own countries, even in their own language. If you're coming here and you're going to think it's easy, think about what your dating life has been in the United States. Are you an interesting person? Do women like you? Or men, if you're a woman watching this. Do you have great relationships with people? Are you spiteful? Are you, have you worked on yourself? That's what I found. And once I started working on myself, once I got deported in 2010, I'm like, okay, I need to create the best version of Andrew that I can. And working on myself has been kind of like a game changer for me. Not only because I feel better about myself, I'm healthier mentally, physically, and on top of that, I have awesome relationships. Like my friendships, even women that I've dated that it just didn't work out, we broke up, we've become friends even still, like where we hang out type stuff. Like, oh, we have the same friends, etc. And they know of each other, which never happened to me before. And I don't think it happened because it's Colombia. I think it happened because I changed. I worked on myself. I've become and continuously working on myself to become a better person. Cut alcohol. I will never cut alcohol 100% because it is like a social thing, right? Like I like going to watch football on Sunday and having a couple beers with my friends, or playing video games with my cousin like we did last night and having, a couple beers. That was super fun. So I won't ever cut it 100%, but I'm not drinking every day. I'm not using it as a crutch anymore. Like I did, when I was younger, going out almost every day, drinking just, after basketball with the guys and stuff like that. Now it's like lead a more healthy life physically and mentally, because I was able to work on myself, and that resonates with people and my relationships, not only with women, but also with guys and just friends and family members. Yeah, it's definitely a game changer. So I think Colombia won't change your dating life. You will change your dating life. And the guys that get in trouble here with women are guys that have already had trouble with women, even in their own country, in their own language. And then they blame Colombia or Colombian women of being gold diggers, of being problematic, of not being faithful and stuff. And it's like, wait a minute, you had 2 divorces in the United States. You were unfaithful. So it's interesting, but yeah, I think that's the one biggest thing that I've learned in my 16 years here is to work on myself. The more I work on myself, the more I invest on myself, the more money I make, the more friends I make, the better relationships I have, the more fun I have. So yeah, it's definitely a big game changer. Aguardiente hangovers are the worst. Yeah, this year I've only drank aguardiente one time, and that was at my brother's wedding. And yeah, it was not a fun day the next day. Is there a way to buy properties that have delinquent taxes similar to tax liens sales here in the U.S.? There is, yeah. And there's a courthouse that does that, but there's not many. That's the thing, because taxes here are so low. You're talking about like 0.5% of the property value is what your yearly tax is. So the foreclosure market, the tax delinquent market is very, very low here. It's almost niche. I've never really gotten into it. I might look into it, but I haven't. I don't know anybody that's done it, but I know it exists. New follower here. Great channel, bro. Are you a Nacional or Team fan? Soy del Verde. Yeah, I'm a Nacional fan. Uh, Only by association through like the girlfriends I've had. I've only, let me think. Yeah, all the girls that I've ever dated were Nacional fans. I never had a girlfriend that was a Medellin fan. So I grew to like them, and they've always been winning too, which is great. Andrew, I know you've given prices on health insurance for your age group, but do you know what older people are paying? Just curious for my parents. Yeah, my parents are in their 60s. I think they were quoted like between $3,000 to $5,000 for the entire year. It's not compared to the United States. It's very low. But for here, if you're on a Colombian income, that could be very expensive for private health insurance. Just tell someone no in Colombia, and you'll see who will want to hang out with you. I guess it's time to put that work in. I'm only 22, still got a lot to achieve before I step into Colombia as a second life. Yeah. Oh, you're just getting started, man. But yeah, it's great that you seek out this information because that's what I did. And I started late. I mean, I didn't become financially independent and time independent until I was like 36, 38 years old. So it was late for me. And I think it could have been faster if I made better choices when I was younger, if I worked on myself more. But I think now you've got a leg up because you've got so much information at your fingertips. T-Mac says, I'm 53. I pay about $30 for the basic healthcare. Nice. Yes, that the basic public healthcare is super cheap. Feliz Navidad desde California. Jen, thank you so much. Feliz Navidad. Próspero Año Nuevo. MS says, I will be back visiting Medellin in 2026. Do you offer tours or guides to show more of Medellin, strictly property purchases or tourist assistance as well? We don't do tours. But yeah, there's a lot of tour companies here, but yeah, we only do sales and property management, and we do the relocation masterclass, which is medellinmasterclass.com. And, obviously we hang out a lot. There are a few Medellin masterclass students that live like in my neighborhood or like near me. So we hang out a lot. Like the other day, I was watching the Laker game with a friend, another guy. We had dinner. Another guy works out of the same cafe as me. So yeah, it's we're always hanging out, always doing stuff, but no tours. Yeah, I wouldn't want to get into that business. Dude, I'm so proud of you with the little I know. I came from nothing and made myself a millionaire from investing in real estate and other things. Wow, that's awesome. That's inspirational, man. Yeah, and I think it's good to share your experience with other people. That's why I love this YouTube channel, because I do love teaching. I do love helping people. And I also love sharing my story because I know that I follow other YouTubers and I listen to their and watch their videos because I learn something from them. Not just because they're entertaining, but because I get like something out of it. So I hope that people, when they watch my stuff, they get something out of it. Andrew, do you know of any moving company? How easy it is to move from US? Affordable, your thoughts? I don't know any moving company that does international moves. I know a couple of the guys from the Medellin Masterclass have gone through a moving company to move like large boxes, even furniture down here. But I always recommend like do what my parents did. A year and a half ago, my parents sold everything down there and just came back. They came here with basically boxes of clothes. They used a company out of California, Southern California, that ships boxes from there to here. They had like 10 or 15 boxes. T-Mac, yeah, man, I got to find out that. And just for my 100% a few months ago. Okay. Conversation there between. We know you root for Angel City FC. I was a Galaxy fan. I was around when Galaxy first came out, and I loved it. And I would go to Galaxy games with my dad and my brother. It was awesome. It was fun. That's what I miss most about life in the United States is the sports culture, man. There's so many sports. You could go to a baseball game basically any day of the week, especially living in LA. You got two baseball teams, and you got the San Diego Padres down south. You can watch a baseball game any day, and it's not expensive, especially like the weekly games or the weekday games. Dallas says, I like a good old night walk. Is using public transportation in Medellin like the metro safe at night? What about walking at night? Yeah, it depends on the neighborhood. Obviously, I would not recommend walking around at night in downtown Medellin, especially if you're a foreigner and you're new. I lived in downtown Medellin and I would walk at night and nothing ever happened to me, but I'm also, a guy and I'm a 6'3". And I knew where to move there. Like I knew where the well-lit streets were. I wasn't going through back alleys or anything like that. But the metro is super safe. I think being on the metro is like the safest place. There could be pickpockets, especially like at rush hour. So when you get on the metro, you'll see people that have backpacks. They'll switch it to the front just so that someone doesn't open up their zipper or something. That's the only type of danger that you'll see there. But it's not like it's rampant pickpocketing. It's more, I think, occasional that it happens. So the metro's super safe. Walking at night. I walk at night here in Patio Bonito and in Barrio Manila, super safe. So it just depends on your neighborhood. I don't know what they shipped those 15 boxes for, Shanti. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know the company because I think it was like a small outfit out of like a certain part of LA that has like Colombians that live there, so they do shipping to Colombia. Yeah, I'll have to ask them about it. How much I need to start investing in real estate. In Colombia, I think a good budget would be around $150,000 or more. You could find stuff cheaper than that, but if you want to be in a desirable area, it's going to be about $150,000 for like a 2-bedroom or more in like the desirable areas. If you want a less desirable area, but cheaper, yeah, you could find stuff for $60,000, $50,000 in lower income neighborhoods that are still safe, but they're just less desirable. You're probably not going to rent it out on Airbnb very much. You might just rent it out to like a local family or something like that. So yeah, you could start with as little as like $50,000 out here. But if you want to be in the desirable areas that are going to appreciate faster or more and give you a better ROI through Airbnb or any other platform for renting to foreigners, it's going to be like El Poblado and parts of Laureles for that. And that's going to be over $150,000. I won't be ready to relocate there until 2029. I will continue to visit Colombia until then. Should I take your master class now or wait until I get closer to the retirement? You can take it now because you'll have it forever, and we'll be updating it as things change, because visa requirements will change next year, etc. So those modules will be updated every year, and you can come back to it and take it at your pace. So whenever you're ready to take it is good. I think I'm one of those people that I plan. I'm a planner. So if it were me, I'd be taking it now and taking notes, because there's some things that you could start working on now if you wanted to. Have you considered taking money from individual investors to invest in high-ticket properties or hotels? Yeah, we're working on that. My business partner and I want to do a development project out here. When we do that, hopefully this year or this coming year, I'll be sharing it on the channel, obviously, taking on investors as shareholders or actual owners of units, depending on how we structure the deal. But yeah, we're working on that because I have many friends that already do that, and it's a great business, and it's awesome because if you build like a building of like, let's say, like a 4-story or 5-story building with, let's say, 8 apartments in it, you can make them how you want them to look, make them desirable. You could rezone it to be commercial if you wanted to do daily rentals in them, etc. So yeah, it's something that I want to do. Andrew, what's your opinion on those builders that give you the option to buy new property in Colombia while living in the U.S.? Is it even worth the process without credit there? So yeah, you want to be. So those are called pre-construction projects or blueprint projects. That's what they call them here. And basically, it's like a builder saying, hey, here's our render of what we want to build. We're selling the units now. You're basically funding the project by buying into it. And the way you buy into it is the typical deal in Colombia is that you have to put a 30% down payment to buy a property, and the bank will finance 70% of it. That 30% down payment, you pay to the builder over the course of 2 years while they build the building. So you don't have to come up with, let's say it's a $100,000 apartment. You don't have to come up with $30,000 right now. You pay those $30,000 over the course of 24 months. And what should be happening is that as you pay that, they should be reporting to the credit bureau so that your Colombian credit builds up over those 2 years, so that once those 2 years are done and they're going to now turn in the property, hand you over the keys, you apply for the loan with the bank that they're working in conjunction with, whether it's Bancolombia, BBVA, Da Vivienda, and they give you a mortgage because they're working in conjunction with the constructor, so it's easier to get that mortgage, and hopefully your credit is good by then as well. So it's something that you definitely want to plan and talk to the builder about, especially if you're a foreigner, making sure that you will legitimately be able to qualify for that loan or that mortgage at the end of the 2 years of paying that down payment. Does that make sense? There's an empty lot across Chumburger calling your name. I saw that. I know Premium Properties is selling that one. I saw it there. Okay, let's see. What are the best parts of Laureles? I stayed one time in between the two parks and really liked it. That's a great area. That area is awesome, especially because it's walking distance to everything there. I really like the area called where T-Mac lives. T-Mac, where do you live? Oh, fuck, I'm blanking on the name. Not La Castellana is a nice area. What is it called? Conquistadores. Thank you. Yeah, Conquistadores is a great area. I love that area because it's flat, it's green, walking distance to a lot of cafes, restaurants, and it's nice. It's really nice. It's residential and still affordable. I think it's a beautiful neighborhood, and it's still be closer to there. I'd say pick a neighborhood between those two parks. Yeah, Barrio Conquistadores. Thank you, T-Mac. I'm liking Laureles for my retirement purchase. Is the area recommended, or is there other places similar that you prefer more of? No, I think Laureles, well, remember, Laureles is huge too. I think Laureles has like 14 neighborhoods within the larger neighborhood of Laureles. So they have like Conquistadores, La Castellana. You've got a bunch of little neighborhoods in that area or in that neighborhood, and some of them are more expensive than others. But Conquistadores is definitely one of them. Especially, I have a friend that is retired, and he bought an apartment in Conquistadores. The other caveat for a neighborhood like Conquistadores is that most of them are older buildings, so there's no like newer construction. There is some new construction, but most of the inventory will be in an older building. So if you want something newer, that might not be the area. Near the first and second park, there's a lot of new construction out there, so you'll find newer buildings. The other caveat with Laureles buildings is that since it's flat, buildings don't have views because there'll be like another building in front of you. So it's more about living like the barrio lifestyle and not having the views, as opposed to the trade-off living in a hilly area like El Poblado or Envigado or even what was it called? Medellin, right, adjacent to Laureles. The trade-off is that you get great views, but it's less barrio feel because it's not flat. People aren't out and about in those areas, if that makes sense. 73rd is the best area in Laureles. Yeah, I like a lot of Laureles. The pre-construction companies make it easier and convenient to get into a property. I checked out some properties after going to the convention with Andrew at Plaza Mayor. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was fun. I think I missed it this year. Yeah, I think I did miss it. I know I missed it this year. No, I did not miss it this year. I went this year. I go to all the conventions I can. I love it. I love meeting new people. It's walking distance to Parque del Rio and Unicentro. Yes, the mall Unicentro. It's adjacent to that as well. Okay, so the next point. Here is foreign investment blew up in 2025 as well. According to the ACI Medellin, investment and international cooperation reached about $402 million in 2025, with 11,211 jobs created, more than double 2024's $150 million invested in Medellin and 1,700 jobs created. That's a jump of about 266% foreign investment in Medellin. That's huge. According to El Colombiano, summarizing ACI's data, from 2008 to 2025, Medellin has attracted over $4 billion in foreign direct investment and 44,000 jobs created, consolidating the city as a major regional business destination. So I think we can now take Medellin seriously for its foreign investment opportunities because money talks, bullshit walks, right? That's what they say. And this year, there's been $402 million invested and over 11,000 jobs created because of those investments, which is awesome. And you feel it and you see it. It's very normal for someone to be making over $1,000 a month here, where in the past, many people weren't making that. Now you see more. I think the Medellin middle class has grown and it's going to continue to grow. And you see it in like international events. For example, a stat that I thought was really interesting is that out of all of the countries in the world, the fan base that shows up to the World Cup more is Colombian fan base, which is weird. It's crazy because most people associate Colombia with poverty, but you have this growing middle class that in Russia, the World Cup in Russia, that was like the Colombian fan base was the biggest fan base that went to Russia, which is amazing, right? To watch the team. So that means that there's money here and people are making money and people are getting better jobs. People are learning some English. They're getting jobs with foreign companies or companies here that cater to foreigners or even companies that are making pesos, but, are building. So you have, in my 16 years, I felt like this year has been like the best economic year for the city and maybe even for the country. It feels like people are genuinely making more money and it feels like they're happier. It's weird, but it's good. And it's also been good for me because I like restaurants. I like bars. I like going out with friends. I like doing things every day, going to a new cafe or whatever. So that investment means that new things have been built out. And just in my neighborhood alone, this year, there's been like 4 new restaurants, one street away from me, including a Korean barbecue place across the street from me, which is like high end. So that kind of stuff is great. It's great for the economy. It builds jobs. And I think most of the local businesses that are being built are by locals too. It's not like foreigners are doing all of the investing. I think it's foreign money, but maybe it's like Colombians that live and make money in the U.S. bringing it over here as well, along with foreigners coming in with their money as well. So yeah, that's huge. Okay, another point is that real estate in 2025 was a reset year, not a crash. So in 2025, like prices, like there's like a steep increase in prices the last few years on real estate. Like appreciation went crazy the last 5 years. And this year, it kind of just like leveled off. It rose a little bit, but I think it's like along with inflation, which is around like 5 to 6%, as opposed to like the crazy 50% appreciation or 100% appreciation in places like El Poblado. So it's leveled off, but it's still going up. I think real estate appreciates every year, so but it's not like that crazy appreciation anymore. According to Benrep and media reports show rents up and demand shifting. Medellin now leading rental prices while some mid-tier cities became relatively more affordable. Local business press, Portafolio, and La Lonja talk about tourist housing, digital nomads, and foreign buyers as key drivers reshaping the market, especially in Laureles, Loma de los Bernal, and Castropol. Yeah, that's where M Living is, near Castropol. Yeah, so the good thing about real estate blowing up in Medellin has been that like the Medellin sellers have become more flexible to negotiation and more flexible and even at times creative. I've had clients that were Colombian clients. They own the property. All the people that we sell properties for, I would say like 95% of them are Colombians. Very few foreigners that are selling their property here. But even the Colombians have even talked to us and say, hey, I'm selling it for this price, but I don't need all the money up front right now. I can carry a note for 5 years or 3 years. And I'm like, that was unheard of, a few years ago, because Colombians weren't that flexible. They just wanted cash. Now they're becoming more flexible. It doesn't happen a lot, but I've seen it more. And I probably see it more too because I'm in the industry and working than before. But I thought that was interesting. They're seeing the potential of, carrying or owner financing and making more money than just having the cash up front, which I thought was interesting. But yeah, real estate is going to continue to grow here. It's still a good investment. Turnkey properties will return you anywhere from 4 to 7%, something that you build equity and remodel and buy at a really low price, and you can rent it out and you manage it properly yourself, not paying a 15% or 20% property management fee. You're talking about return on investment higher than 12%. But obviously it all depends on what you buy it at and how you manage it. Okay, another thing that I found this year is lifestyle. Medellin still sells routine, sun, and community. According to Numbeo and local media coverage, Medellin scores high on climate, healthcare, commute times, and urban services, which is exactly what long-term expats feel day to day. And I know because I know many of them. And it's still a very desirable place. I think it's become more desirable now because of Colombians catering to tourism. They've taken tourism more serious. So where, 15 years ago, so when I first got here, making a change in the menu order was like a process. Like sometimes it would just be a blatant no, like downright, no, we can't do that. Like, hey, instead of rice, I'm on a low carb diet. I don't want rice with my meal. Can you just add extra salad? You would get like a blank look and they'd be like, no. Or they'd be like, let me ask. Now, obviously that doesn't happen. Maybe in like the barrios where they get like none of that happening. But now it's more, the customer service has gotten better, I should say. So yeah, Medellin still sells lifestyle, especially if you're a foreigner with foreign money. Lifestyle here is awesome. My routine is awesome. I feel like I'm more productive with this lifestyle that I have. I've built businesses around my lifestyle, which is walking, talking, making friends, traveling to other cities, now having a family, raising the baby, and spending time, as much time as him as possible. Now having my parents that moved down here from California. They're living 3 blocks away from me, and they take care of the baby. My mom is like the nanny, which is awesome because I was going to hire a nanny because, it's hard to take care of a 1.5-year-old. But she's like, nope, I got this. So I pay her for that. So lifestyle is still awesome. Your dollar still goes a long way here. I don't know if I'd be able to do what I do here in the United States comfortably in a nice neighborhood. It would be tough because in Southern California, the average price of a home is like $1 million. And I'm not going to get into a $1 million mortgage. No thanks. That's not in my plans, in my lifestyle. I don't want that stress hanging over me. Okay, another thing that I found for 2026. What to watch out for in 2026. If you're a real estate investor, there's going to be more regulation on Airbnbs, particularly on the daily rentals. So you definitely want to be up to date on that. Make sure that you're working with a reputable or a competent real estate agent and or attorney, or hopefully both. And hopefully it's with us, MedellinLivingRealEstate.com. But if not, make sure that you do your due diligence. Make sure that it's recommended. They have good ratings, etc. Because you need to know this stuff before you buy the property and put it up on Airbnb. Rents. Now that Medellin is number 1 for rentals in Colombia, are the rental prices going to keep climbing in 2026? I think they're going to flatten out. I don't think they're going to keep climbing like they did. They basically climbed from like 2024 to 2025. They went up, a lot. I don't know the exact percentage of what they went up by, but it was a noticeable difference between the 2 years. But between 2025 and 2026, I don't think it'll be a big jump in rental prices, particularly for locals. Because all of these Airbnb regulations and new construction that's coming out is to cater to the local demand, not just foreigners as well. Inflation and the peso. If Colombia keeps inflation at around 4 to 5% instead of the 8 to 10%, which is the usual, and your dollar stays strong, Medellin stays very attractive, according to routers. According to ACI Medellin, foreign investment, if the 2025 wave of 400 million plus invested in 11,000 jobs created by foreign investment keeps going, expect more projects, more jobs, and more long-term sustainability. So whether you're looking at Medellin for lifestyle, whether you're looking at Medellin as an investment or maybe both, it's definitely doable here, and it's still affordable. It's definitely still more affordable than it is in the United States and many major cities in the United States. If you haven't visited yet, you definitely want to visit. I think a week doesn't give Medellin justice. I think you have to do more than a week in Medellin to truly get a feel for the city. I highly recommend staying 2 weeks, maybe a month out here, and experiencing not only just one neighborhood, but various neighborhoods, because you'll fall in love with one of them. I know. I fell in love with 7 of them. So jumping around from neighborhood to neighborhood is awesome. You get a feel, because they're all, everyone's culture is very similar, but they're all distinctly different. It's interesting. And if you are planning to relocate here, there is a link in the description below to the Medellin Masterclass webinar. It takes about an hour to watch the webinar. And if you're looking to buy a property in Medellin, there's also a link in the description below to the Medellin livingrealestate.com website. You'll fill out that form, and somebody on the team will get back to you as soon as possible. And also, I want to thank you guys, because we hit over 15,000 subscribers this year. That was my goal. My goal at the beginning of the year was to get to over 15,000 subscribers, and we hit it in December. No, we hit it in November, I believe. Yeah, in November. I hit 15,000 subscribers on Medellin Buzz, and it's showing by way of Google, well, it is Google, but YouTube is paying me now a couple $1,000 just for creating content that you guys consider valuable. So I really appreciate when you guys watch the videos, when you comment, when you hit the like button. It's awesome, because I'm able to build another little business around my lifestyle of showing you my city and how much I love it, the good things and the bad things, and helping you make your Medellin dream a possibility. So that wraps up this live. It is 8:18 p.m. I'm going to watch NBA. Yeah, there's a few NBA games on right now. Yeah, the Pacers are playing the Celtics. The Hawks are playing the Heat. Magic and Hornets. Let's see, any good games? Oh, the Grizzlies and the Bucks, maybe. Could be a good game. Yeah, I'm going to watch NBA, chill out, drink some more of my soda water. I hope you guys have a great New Year's Eve, and I will be live next Friday. Let me see. When is next Friday? Next Friday will be next year, right? Oh, shoot, yeah. So I will see you guys next year on the 2nd of January. I'm going to be more consistent with the lives. I want to do one every Friday, so hopefully I'll see you then. Have a great rest of your weekend. Celebrate with family. Celebrate with loved ones, with friends. Don't get too drunk. Kiss as many people as you can. Open mouth. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, no, just have fun, guys. Stay safe, and I hope to see you in Medellin next year. Happy New Year, guys. Have a great one. Thank you for joining.